Ryan Leaf, it's good to see you again. Number one, I'm glad that your life is back on track. I'm glad to see that you're healthy. But a lot has happened since the last time I saw you on Radio Row. 4 years ago in Indy, you had a book. You had been making the rounds on Radio Row. It had been a whirlwind year for you. What has happened? Can you just take us through what's happened since?
Well, yeah, that was kind of the beginning of the end for me. I was in the throes of a bunch of crap. But I that was an opportunity for me to probably really publicly ask for help, and I didn't do it. So what happens to me then is what happens the next couple of weeks later, where I am in trouble and I go to prison. And I've been in prison for 32 months, and I've been out for about 14 months now, living in LA, working, busy, happy. My life's peaceful and unchaotic, so that's all I can ask for.
Why is this time different? I remember you became a pretty good regular on the Darren Smith show. We had you on. You even co-hosted a couple of times, which was a lot of fun. But why is this time different for you?
Well, when I was doing that stuff, I was still sober. I think that when the problem came about, I didn't ask for the help. So during that time, I felt good about what I was doing, except I didn't follow my own instructions. I don't want to say this time's different because today I'm good. Who knows what happens tomorrow? This is a day-to-day thing. And so today I'm good. We'll get up and start again tomorrow. And I do feel like a hypocrite a bit, but that's exactly what that disease does. And what was I supposed to do, just quit or give up? My story has power for people because there's a ton of people that deal with this stuff all the time. So if I can help one person, then why not continue to do it? I just can't check out and stop living.
What got you back down that path again? Because I know there was a good portion of time where you were clean and you had gotten things back in your life, and I know your family was so happy and proud. But what got you back down that path again?
I really don't want to use excuses, but I got sick. You were with me. I got a brain tumor, and I had to go through a radiation session, and that was painful. And I was sick, and the doctor offered me painkillers like everybody else, and I was kind of like, I deserve this. Everybody else gets to deal with this the way they have to, but I can't. I just can't. I have a reaction to it, a physical and allergic reaction to Vicodin. And I didn't tell the doctor, and that was on December 1st, 2011. And by March 30th, 2012, just 4 months, I was on a jailhouse floor. So that's how quickly it turned around on me.
Did you ever imagine in your life, in your wildest dreams, with all the aspirations you had and the opportunities that you had, that you would one day end up in prison?
No, of course not. No one does.
I guess not.
So I think that, but for me, it had to happen. That's how.
Bottom.
Yeah, that's how humbled I had to be for me to get it. Now, people don't have to go to that bottom. They can have a spiritual awakening or hear my story and realize that there's a different path. But it has to be their rock bottom, however they get to that. It just simply does. They can't be told something. There has to be a finality, a spirituality that comes from that acceptance and being okay with all of that.
What do you do? So since you got out, what have you been doing? Where are you? What are you doing for a living these days? What's new with Ryan Leaf?
Well, when I got out immediately, I went to a treatment facility. I went to the treatment facility for 90 days because I wanted to build a foundation. I stayed sober the whole time I was in prison, ironically, because there was more drugs in there than I'd ever seen. I was just done. But I wanted to go to a place where I could build a foundation again when I got out, because you don't learn anything and you don't get better in prison. It's just a warehouse. They warehouse you. They give you a number and say you have no value and you're marginalized. Bye. And I didn't think that's where I belonged any longer, and I asked for parole, and I did. And I got out and I went to a treatment center for 90 days, and then I started working for a company called Transcend Sober Living, and I started in their houses. Working with the kids, driving them around, really just, humble beginnings. And now they brought me into the fold with the administration, and I'm traveling around, and I'm the program ambassador, speaking to kids, speaking to people who have substance abuse problems, hopefully showing them a way because of my story, how great a problem it is. And the company's such a high integrity company. And in LA and in New York and in Houston, where our offices are, there's not a negative stigma that goes with it. There's truth in helping people and people not going, oh, or rehab's not a bad 5-letter word. So they're a great company, and I'm really honored to be a part of that.
You and I have stayed in touch throughout this process, especially since you got out. I remember I said, Ryan, I'm glad you have your life back, but stay away from the media. Get away from all that stuff. Don't do any interviews. You were high the last time on Radio Row. Clearly you're not right now. Why are you comfortable talking about this now?
I still don't think I was. I brought my girlfriend with me, and she grew up here. This was an opportunity. There was an excuse to come here to do some of the medical screening that the NFLPA is offering now for our neurocognitive stuff in our bodies. So that was an excuse to come here and do that. And then I really got an opportunity to sit with a lot of my peers, guys that I really hadn't associated with for a long time. And I really found out that, whether you played 1 year or 20 years, we all have a similar background. We all have a commonality that I just didn't partake in because I was ashamed of of everything I had done. And I can't change any of that now. And they were so welcoming. And a few of them offered insight on what I could make out of this, what this is really about. This isn't about me. People could care less really about me and what I say. It's going to be forgotten tomorrow. And I was always stuck in my head about do I look good? Am I presentable? Am I saying the right things? And now, if people think I'm still in jail, or people think I don't have it together, or if they think I'm on Skid Row, that's fine now. The acceptance of I'm where I'm at now because I can be help to somebody, be of service. I think that's the best thing. That keeps me humble. And I just don't. I just want to have a peaceful and unchaotic life, and this allows that. So
there are people that are rooting for you from before. There are people they're going to say, you know what, it's never going to change. What is your message though? What's your message when you're going out there and you're talking to people who have been in trouble? What's your message when you're out speaking, whether here on Radio Row, whether you're out talking to younger kids, schools, whatever?
My message is just my story now. I just tell my story, and I tell what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. That's what I do. I don't try to offer any advice other than this is what I did. You have to find your own path and be accepting of what that comes. And my answer to the other one is just my daily affirmation now. What other people think of me is none of my business. And that's hard. That's been 36 years ingrained in my brain. It was what other people thought of me is all my business.
Do you still have social media?
I do.
Okay, I think yeah.
No more. I have a Twitter account, but I never use it. I did once right after I got out about Deflategate, and people wrote stories about them in the LA Times and stuff. So I was like, this is silly. Why do I have to tell anybody anything? And I got rid of all that stuff. So this will be the first. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. If somebody out there hears about my path and they're struggling, and then they find help, then that's what. Then it'd be worth it, regardless of what other people think or say about anything.
How long have you been sober for?
It'll be 4 years, April 1st. I woke up on that jailhouse floor March 30th, 2012, and April 1st was my first day sober, waking up in that prison cell. And it's easy now. It really is. I don't think about it. What had to change was also my behavior. I was an addict long before I was before I picked up a drug. Addict's behavior, narcissistic, selfish, not loving, things like that. So that stuff changes, but it's also a constant work every day. Progress, not perfection. You always had to be perfect at everything, and I don't. I'm a human. I'm a flawed human just like anybody else.
Ryan, listen, congratulations on your rehab. I'm proud of you. It's going to be a really tough thing. It's going to be a tough thing to have to deal with, and it's something that you will have to deal with your entire life. So congratulations on your rehab and the health, and look forward to catching up again.
Thanks, Marty.